children, I hope you have gone through my previous video, and today we will continue further. Today we will study about the properties of solids. Now there are two types of properties of solids. First is the electrical properties and second is magnetic properties. We start with the electrical properties. Now according to electrical properties, solids are of three types: conductors, insulators and semiconductors. What are conductors? They are actually metals. The electrical conductivity is due to flow of electrons without any chemical change. The conductivity of metals is of the order of 10 to power 4 to 10 to power 7 per ohm per meter. Example: copper, silver, gold, etc. It decreases with increase in temperature. Insulators. The electrical conductivity of insulators is least. It is of the order of 10 to power minus 10 to 10 to power minus 20 per ohm per meter. Example of insulators are PVC, polyvinyl chloride, rubber, etc. Semiconductors. They allow only partial conduction of current through them. The electrical conductivity is 10 to power minus 6 to 10 to power 4 per ohm per meter, which is intermediate between conductors and insulators. Now, when you look at the semiconductors, they are of two types: extrinsic semiconductors and intrinsic semiconductors. Two types of semiconductors are there: intrinsic and extrinsic. So we will start with studying about them one by one. The first one we will do is intrinsic semiconductor. Now what is an intrinsic semiconductor? An insulator, when conducts electric current either at high temperature or on an irradiation with electromagnetic waves, it is known as intrinsic semiconductor. Extrinsic semiconductor: when an impurity is added to an insulator, it makes available either electrons or holes for electric conductions. Such an insulator is called as extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so extrinsic semiconductor means you have to add impurity, then it will become something from extra is being added. So that is why extrinsic semiconductor. Now extrinsic semiconductors are again of two types. The first type is N-type semiconductor. Now in N-type semiconductor, when the atom of impurity provides more electrons than the parent atom, forming the insulator, N-type of semiconductor is formed. This can be done by adding arsenic or phosphorus. Arsenic and phosphorus, they belong to group 15, to silicon, and silicon belongs to group 14. Now here you can see in the diagram, this is a crystal of silicon, and in this we have removed one silicon atom and in its place we have added arsenic. Silicon belongs to group 14 and arsenic belongs to group 15. I told you in my previous video that this adding of impurity, this is called as doping. Now impurity of group 15 element has 5 valence electrons and remains unused. Such free electron in the crystal move under the influence of electric field conducting electric current. So free electrons are present because you have added an element which has got more number of electrons than the existing element. So this type of conductor is called as N-type conductor. Next type is P-type semiconductor. When doping element has one electron less than the parent element. That means doping is done by group 13 element in a crystal of group 14 element. Then semiconductor formed are termed as p-type semiconductor. In this case, electron vacancy or hole helps in conducting electric current. Example, a semiconductor containing gallium or silicon atom as a gallium atom has impurity in silicon. Now here in this case we have an extra electron because of phosphorus and a hole because of aluminium. So this type of conductor is called as p-type semiconductor. Next we move to the magnetic properties of solids. Now each electron in an atom behaves like a tiny magnet. Its magnetic moment originates from two types of motions. First is the orbital motion around the nucleus, and second is its spin around its own axis. Just like Earth is revolving around its own axis as well as moving around the sun. So here also there are two types of motion. Electron being a charged particle and having these motions can be considered as a small loop of current which has magnetic moment. Thus, each electron has a permanent spin and an orbital magnetic moment associated with it. Its magnetic moment is very small and is measured in Bohr magneton, which is equal to 9.27 into 10 to power minus 24 angstrom meter square. Now, depending upon the behavior of solids towards the magnetic field, the magnetism can be divided into actually 5 types, but due to reduced syllabus, you have to study only about 2 types, that is paramagnetism and diamagnetism. Now, what is paramagnetism? These are substances which are weakly attracted when placed in external magnetic field due to presence of unpaired electrons in ions, atoms or molecules of those substances. The unpaired electrons have magnetic moment, but their randomly orientation cancel each other's effect. However, in the presence of external magnetic field, these unpaired electrons are aligned in the same direction and show temporary magnetism. Example, NO, nitrogen oxide, oxygen, chromium, manganese, nickel, Cu2+, Ni2+, CuO, etc. Second property is diamagnetism. These are weakly repelled by external magnetic field because they have paired electrons in their ions. Unpaired is paramagnetism, paired electrons, diamagnetism. In their ions, atoms or molecules, being paired, the magnetic moment of one electron is compensated by equal and opposite magnetic moment of the other electron. Example, nitrogen, N2, NaCl, zinc, cadmium, copper, water, benzene, etc. So, these are the magnetic properties. Like I told you earlier, you were having to study 5, but now this year, because of reduced syllabus, you have to study only about diamagnetism and paramagnetism. Now, I have already told you about the types of solids, that is ionic solids, metallic solids, types of crystals that are there, ionic crystal, metallic crystal, but certain substances, crystals, you have to study in detail. So, let us take them up one by one. First is sodium chloride. It is an example of ionic crystal, and it is this structure of sodium chloride crystal is also called as rock salt crystal. If you look at the crystal over here clearly, the chloride ion adopts a cubic closed pack arrangement. See, if this you take this as chloride ion, and these one color you can take as chloride, the other color you can take as sodium. So they form a cubic closed pack arrangement. Therefore, Cl minus ion are present at all the corners and at the center of each face. Therefore, they have a face-centered arrangement. FCC arrangement can be seen in sodium chloride crystal. This is the first important point, FCC arrangement. Second is sodium ions occupy octahedral sites. They are present at the edge center and the body center. This arrangement is body centered. So chloride ions FCC face centered and sodium ions body centered. Third point is each sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chloride ions. If orange one is sodium, then you see it is surrounded by 6 blue. So they are surrounded by 6 chloride ion, and each chloride ion, if here you take the blue one, it is also surrounded by 6 orange atoms. So each sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chloride ion, and each chloride ion is surrounded by 6 sodium ions. Thus, coordination number of each sodium and chloride ion in sodium chloride structure are 6 and 6. Number of sodium and chloride ions present per unit cell. This is also asked in the exam. So, unit cell of sodium chloride has 4 sodium and 4 chloride ions, which are alternately arranged to minimize the force of repulsion. This is a frequently asked question in the exam. They ask you in a sodium chloride structure, what is the coordination number of sodium, what is the coordination number of chloride, how many atoms are present per unit cell of sodium ion, how many of chloride ion. So this should be clear to you. Coordination number for both is 6, and the ions or present per unit cell is 4 each. Don't get confused. Don't write coordination. Don't get confused between coordination number and ions. Coordination number is neighboring atoms, and ions of that particular ion is calculated by, like for chloride, there are 8 at the edges. So 1 upon 8 into 8 and 6 at the faces. So 1 upon 2 into 6. So 1 plus 3 becomes 4. For sodium, 1 upon 4 into 12 plus 1 and at the center of the body, that again becomes 4. These ions are held together by strong electrostatic force of attraction. Sodium ions are arranged octahedral around each chloride ion. In solid state, these ions are not free to move, thus NaCl does not conduct electricity in solid state. Now this was about NaCl. The next crystal, it is a metallic crystal of the metal copper. Now copper has cubic closed packed structure, that is, it has a face centered arrangement, FCC arrangement. Coordination number of copper ion is 12. Out of these 12 copper ions, 6 ions are present in one plane, while 3 are below the plane and 3 are above the plane. The total number of copper ions present per unit cell is 4. These ions are held together by metallic bond. Okay, so this was the metallic crystal. Now the third type of crystal is covalent crystal, and in covalent crystal we have to study about diamond and graphite. 2 crystals we will be studying. First, let us start with diamond, which is a covalent crystal. I have already told you about the differences between ionic, metallic and covalent crystal in my previous videos. You can refer to it. Now, covalent crystal means the atoms are bonded to each other by covalent bonds, which those which consist of separate layers. Two types of covalent crystals are seen. First is where the atoms are bonded to each other by covalent bonds, that is in case of diamond. But there is another case, or that of graphite, where the crystal consists of separate layers and the atoms in layers are covalently bonded. Okay, we'll be dealing with graphite after we finish with diamond. Let us first study diamond. If you look at the crystal structure of diamond, the unit cell of diamond is a regular tetrahedron. See, it is a regular tetrahedral having one carbon atom at each of its four corners and one carbon lying at its center. In this unit cell, the central carbon atom is linked to the corner carbon atoms by covalent bond. Two such unit cells are joined by covalent bond to form closed packed lattice. Therefore, the coordination number of carbon in diamond is 4. Each carbon is sp3 hybridized and the bond angle is 109 degree 28 minutes. Carbon atoms are linked to each other by strong sigma bond which are formed as a result of sp3 overlap. Diamond crystallizes in face centered arrangement. FCC arrangement is seen in diamond crystal. When you look at the crystal, this type of arrangement, it is FCC arrangement. Now this structure of diamond which you can see, it can explain the properties of diamond. First property is that since carbon-carbon bond length is very small, that is 1.54 angstrom, the carbon atoms are packed very close to each other and therefore mass per unit volume is high, and that is why diamond has high density. Diamond is a non-conductor of electricity since all the valence electrons are involved in bonding and no free electron is left. Diamond is extremely hard and has high melting point due to the fact that diamond crystals consist of large number of carbon-carbon covalent bonds which have high bond energy. Large amount of energy is required to break these bonds. Since bond length is small, carbon atoms are very close to each other, making the diamond very hard. Now diamond has great brilliance because the refractive index of diamond is 2.75, which is higher than any other solid due to octahedral structure. It comprises of two prisms joined base to base. Such arrangement causes total internal reflection of light, and that is the reason for extraordinary brilliance of diamonds. Second crystal which we have to study under covalent crystals is graphite crystal. Now in graphite each carbon is covalently bonded to 3 other carbon atoms by covalent bonds, while the fourth valency is free. The lattice of graphite has hexagonal rings which are arranged in layers. See, 1 layer, 2 layer. Rings are arranged in layers. Thus, graphite has a layered structure. The carbon atom of graphite is sp2 hybridized. Diamond mein it was sp3 hybridization. Here it is sp2 hybridized. These hybrid orbitals lie in same plane and are used to form strong sigma bond with 3 other carbon atoms. Thus, the unit cell of graphite has 3 atoms. 2 such unit cells form a closed packed lattice and therefore coordination number of carbon is 3. The unhybridized p orbital present on each carbon atom overlap sideways to form a highly delocalized pi electron system, due to which graphite is conducting in nature. This pi electron system extends above and below of each layer. 2 layers are held together by weak van der Waals forces which are easy to break. Thus, one layer can slip over the other, making graphite a good lubricant. The carbon atoms are held together by strong covalent bonds. Graphite has high melting point. It is anisotropic for electric conduction. It has low density as compared to diamond due to large distance between 2 successive layers. The arrangement of carbon atom in each layer causes reflection and absorption of light. Hence, graphite is black and shiny. Is it clear? So this finishes your